Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes the toughest moments in life hide the greatest miracles? It might sound counterintuitive, but often it's during Christmas, a time that should be filled with joy and togetherness, that pain and challenges seem most apparent. Amidst the parties and lights, how many people feel the weight of loneliness or hopelessness? But what if I told you that even in the most unlikely circumstances, a single gesture can change everything? This is the story of a small village, a mysterious star, and a boy who seemed to carry more than just a dream. It's a tale that defies beliefs, brings unexpected answers, and rekindles faith, even where it seemed extinguished. No, it's not just another Christmas story. It's a life lesson, an invitation to believe that miracles are real. Here, you won't find cliches or predictable endings. Every word of this story is crafted to touch your heart, to show you that the magic of Christmas isn't in the gifts or the perfect feast, but in the power we have to transform lives. And the most incredible part? It all starts within each of us. Are you ready to discover the story that has touched thousands of hearts? Maybe it will change yours too. After all, if a small village can experience a miracle, who's to say you can't be the next to live something extraordinary? It was a cold night, illuminated by the twinkling lights of the houses in a small village. Mrs. Clara, a lady with hair as white as snow, gazed out the window while holding a modest package. This Christmas, hope seemed distant, but something in her heart insisted that a miracle was about to happen. Everything began with a soft sound coming from the street. Clara opened the door and found a barefoot boy hugging a skinny, trembling dog. The scene was heart-wrenching, but the sparkle in the boy's eyes was different, as if he carried a magical secret, a Christmas promise. She invited the boy inside, offering him a blanket and some hot soup. As the little one spoke, his story unfolded like a gift being unwrapped. He had traveled a long way, guided by a mysterious instinct that told him he would find something special there, something that would change his life. Clara listened attentively, feeling that every word was like a note from a Christmas carol. The boy mentioned a bright star that seemed to follow him. He believed that the star was guiding him to something greater, a true Christmas miracle. With each sentence, the lady's heart beat faster. It wasn't long before the neighbors began to notice the glow in the sky. Curious, they made their way to Clara's house, drawn by the light that seemed to point directly to her humble home. What could it be? A sign? A divine blessing? The curiosity was irresistible. Inside the house, the boy shared that he had a recurring dream. In his dream, a small village turned into the stage for a grand event, something that would unite hearts. Clara, still moved, began to believe that this year's Christmas held something extraordinary for everyone. As the night went on, the stars seemed to shine even brighter. The warmth of hope spread throughout the village. Even among the most skeptical, everyone there started to feel something different, something that could only be described as the pure essence of the Christmas spirit. Some said the stars' glow was just a coincidence, but Clara knew it was more than that. Deep down, she felt that this moment was special, as if Christmas itself had come down to earth to reignite faith and kindness in people's hearts. As the hours passed, more people gathered in front of Clara's house. Each face showed a mix of curiosity and hope. The children whispered among themselves while the adults tried to decipher the meaning of it all. The air was filled with magical anticipation. And so, as the entire village watched that unique moment, something inside Clara told her that the boy was the key to a great miracle. No one knew exactly what was coming, but everyone felt they were on the brink of something that would change their lives forever. The next morning, the village woke up with a mix of excitement and unease. The star was still shining, but challenges soon arose. The small village, already used to the harshness of winter, was now facing a wave of rumors. Some believed the glow was a sign of good luck, while others, suspicious, feared it was a harbinger of something bad. Determined to help the boy, Clara began to gather what little she had, food, clothes, and even an old mattress. But her kindness did not go unnoticed by the more skeptical neighbors. Why help a stranger? What if he's just taking advantage? Some said. The whispers spread, and Clara felt the weight of distrust on her shoulders. Meanwhile, the boy, whose name was Michael, seemed to hold a secret he couldn't express in words. He looked at the star with a mix of fear and hope, as if he knew something big was coming but didn't yet understand the role he was meant to play. The neighbors started to argue. Some wanted to kick the boy out and put an end to this Christmas madness, while others thought it was better to wait. Clara, with her characteristic patience, tried to calm tensions, but even she sometimes wondered if she was doing the right thing. Am I being naive? She thought. Tension in the village increased day by day. Michael, sensing the discomfort, offered to leave. I don't want to cause any trouble, he said with teary eyes. But Clara, feeling an inexplicable connection, refused to let him go. You're here for a reason, my boy. I won't abandon you now. To make matters worse, the food supply in Clara's house was running low. Nights became colder, and the village was facing one of the harshest winters in recent years. Still, Clara held on to her faith. Christmas always brings something good, she repeated, as if trying to convince herself. Meanwhile, the stars seemed to shine even brighter, almost as a challenge to the doubters. A group of residents decided to investigate the exact spot where the light was concentrated. To everyone's surprise, it seemed to point directly to Clara's house. This only heightened the conflict between the skeptics and the hopeful. Those who believed in the miracle began to help. One family brought firewood, another offered bread. Slowly, a chain of solidarity began to form, but uncertainty still lingered. Doubts persisted, and the weight of responsibility fell on Clara and Michael. Michael, though young, seemed to feel the burden of the moment. He started telling stories about his journey, how he had survived the cold and hunger by always following the star. His words awakened something in the hardest of hearts, but there were still those who resisted the idea of a miracle. And then, just when everything seemed on the verge of collapsing, Clara looked at Michael and said, "Whatever comes, we'll face it together." With that, she rekindled not only the flame of hope within herself, but also in many of those around her. Little did they know they were on the brink of a moment that would change everything. It was Christmas Eve, and the village was blanketed in a white layer of snow. The star, brighter than ever, seemed to pulsate in the sky, as if waiting for the right moment to reveal its purpose. Clara's house was full, not just of people, but of an almost tangible anticipation. Everyone was waiting for something, even if they didn't know exactly what. Suddenly, a sound from the street broke the tension. It was a children's choir, singing a Christmas carol. Michael, who had been quiet in a corner until then, stood up and walked to the door. Something in his gaze seemed different. It was as if he knew this was the moment they had all been waiting for. As soon as Michael opened the door, the star cast a beam of light directly onto him. The glow was so intense that the snow around him began to sparkle like tiny diamonds. Everyone in the village, from the most hopeful to the most skeptical, fell silent, mesmerized by what they were witnessing. Michael, with a steady voice, asked everyone to gather around. He began to tell a story that seemed to come not just from his memory, but from something greater. It was a narrative about love, overcoming challenges, and the true spirit of Christmas. His words seemed to touch every heart, as if they were made just for them. In the middle of his speech, something even more surprising happened. A man who hadn't been able to walk for years took a step forward, guided by the beam of light. The tears on his face said more than any words could. "I feel like I've been born again," he said, as the people around him applauded and wept. Soon, other miracles began to occur. A woman who had lost hope of finding her daughter for a long time received an unexpected message. The young woman was on her way to the village. The news spread to the crowd like wildfire, reigniting faith even among the most skeptical. But the greatest miracle happened in the hearts of the people. Those who were in conflict embraced each other like old friends. Clara, who had always believed in kindness, felt rejuvenated, as if years of exhaustion had vanished in the blink of an eye. Michael, for his part, seemed calm, like someone who had finally fulfilled his mission. The star, as if it had completed its task, began to slowly disappear. The sky returned to its dark hue, but no one missed a glow. After all, it was now in the eyes and smiles of everyone present. The village had transformed into a true symbol of unity. As everything seemed to settle, Michael looked at Clara and said, "Thank you for believing, even when it was hard." These words echoed in her mind, as if confirming that Christmas truly is a time when miracles happen. You just have to believe and keep hope alive. As people returned to their homes, something in the air had changed. It wasn't just the cold or the gently falling snow. It was the weight of a night that would mark the history of that village forever. And so, with one last look at the sky, everyone knew they had experienced something extraordinary. By dawn, the village seemed different. It wasn't just a landscape covered in glistening snow, but what had changed within each person. Michael's story and the light of the star were not just moments of enchantment, but living reminders that the true spirit of Christmas lies in the hearts of those who believe. As families gathered for breakfast, conversations revolved around what they had experienced. A miracle isn't always something grand or supernatural, but often a change in perspective, a gesture of kindness, or renewed faith. That morning, the entire village seemed to understand this. Clara, sitting in her rocking chair, reflected on everything that had happened. "What I've learned from all this," she said, "is that Christmas is not just about receiving, but about giving. And when we give from the heart, we receive something even greater." Her words, shared with the neighbors, echoed like a new tradition. The actions of each person that magical night showed that small deeds can trigger great transformations. The firewood that warmed the house, the bread shared among neighbors, the unexpected embrace. Every detail was a brick in the construction of the miracle, and this, they realized, is the purest meaning of solidarity. The village now saw Michael not just as a lost boy, but as a symbol of hope. His arrival brought light to the darkest corners of hearts. It wasn't just about him, but about what he inspired. Courage, faith, and a belief that even in hardships, something good can flourish. The story didn't remain only in the memories of those who were present. Gradually, it spread to other villages. It was as if each recount rekindled the Christmas flame in distant places, reminding everyone that miracles happen, but you have to be open to seeing them. Clara, in particular, felt grateful to have been part of something so grand, but she knew that what she had done was simple, choosing to believe. This is the power we often forget we have, the ability to change the world around us with small gestures of faith and kindness. Each glance exchanged that night, every outstretched hand, seemed to carry a lesson. No one is alone, especially at Christmas. When we connect with one another, something magical happens. It's as if Christmas itself reminds us of what truly matters: unity and love. The village, now at peace, became an example for everyone who heard the story. Even those who weren't there began to ask themselves, how can I be part of this Christmas spirit? And just like that, without anyone realizing it, the message took on a life of its own. As the new year approached, everyone knew that this story was only the beginning. After all, once you understand the true meaning of Christmas, there's no turning back. And have you noticed how small gestures can be the start of a miracle? In the months that followed, the story of that magical Christmas spread like wildfire. The small village, once forgotten on the map, became a beacon for those seeking inspiration. People from neighboring towns came to hear the accounts, eager to understand how that miracle had transformed so many lives. Clara, who once lived a modest routine, became a sort of mentor to many. Young people, couples, and even entire families sought her out for advice or simply to listen to her wise words. The miracle wasn't just the star or Michael, she said. It was what each person chose to do with it. The impact was also visible among the neighbors. People who barely exchanged greetings started meeting weekly to share stories and ideas on how to spread the Christmas spirit. A group of residents even began organizing fairs to raise funds and help families in need, something unthinkable before that Christmas. Michael, for his part, earned a special place in the collective memory, although he left shortly after that night. Many believe his presence was divine, a call to awaken the best in everyone. To this day, the village children are inspired by him, portraying him in plays and Christmas cantatas. Individual miracle stories continued to emerge as well. The woman who reunited with her daughter decided to open a shelter for lost children. The man who regained the ability to walk became a symbol of perseverance and began teaching others about resilience. Each story felt like a chapter in an endless book, and the impact went beyond the village. Social media, flooded with accounts of that magical night, carried the message worldwide. An amateur video showing the star and the moment of the miracle went viral, reaching millions of views. Comments from people thanking for the inspiration poured in from all corners of the globe. The real change, however, was in the hearts of people. Those who heard the story felt compelled to act. Many started performing small acts of kindness in their communities, from distributing food to simply dedicating time to those in need. It was as if the story had planted seeds of compassion. In the village, Christmas began to be celebrated differently. The lights and decorations were beautiful, but the true highlight was in the actions. Every year, they chose someone to help as a way to perpetuate the legacy of that miracle. It was a constant reminder that Christmas is about much more than gifts. Over time, the story ceased to be just a memory. It became a movement. People around the world began sharing their own versions of the Christmas miracle. Some were small, others grand, but all had one thing in common: the ability to transform lives. And you, when you hear this story, do you feel moved to act as well? Maybe the next miracle is waiting to be awakened by you. After all, Christmas teaches us that the power to change the world begins with each gesture, no matter how small. And who knows, your story might be the next to inspire thousands. So, when you hear this story, what does it awaken in you? Is there a miracle waiting to happen in your life, just waiting for you to take the first step? Perhaps the greatest gift this Christmas isn't under the tree, but in the small actions that can transform not only your reality, but also that of those around you. Pause and think. How many times have we stopped believing because the challenges seem too big? But what if I told you that the miracle begins the moment you choose to believe? How about using this Christmas as a fresh start? Maybe it's time to help someone, forgive a mistake, or even reignite hope in your own heart. Now, I want to know, what will you do with this story? Will it just be another tale you heard, or will it be the trigger to change something in your life? I challenge you to think about it. How about sharing in the comments an action you can take to spread the Christmas spirit? Believe me, your actions could be the start of something grand. And of course, if you want to keep getting inspired by stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Here, every story is an invitation to transform your life and the lives of those around you. Because deep down, we all need a reminder that miracles exist, and the next one might be closer than you think.